Welcome, my fellow colleagues, to PMP 2000 to 2025. It's always a pleasure to be with you here today. Lots of you have been on this trajectory for over 25 years. That is a massive accomplishment. And the purpose of our meeting today is to talk about our journey, where we're headed, to share any accomplishments, to share anything that's in the pipeline as far as your next step in your project management career. My name's Phil Akinwale. I got certified like many of you did in 2005. I remember that day like no other. It was the 25th of June, and I was sweating bullets in that Prometric test center. And being able to come out alive as a PMP was one of the biggest accomplishments in my career. In fact, the biggest, because the PMP certification shaped my trajectory. For many of you, I'm sure you have the same thing to say. Some of you do not have the same thing to say. Some of you branched into totally different businesses or areas, but you held on to your PMP. So I applaud you. Today, we're going to take a look at the career roadmap that lots of us have taken as PMPs. So let's jump straight into it. I'll share a link in the chat where you can take a look at this career roadmap with me, and we can journey through the career roadmap together. So taking a look at the PMP career life cycle for most people, it starts off with this foundational step. I often refer to this as seeds of the PM journey. And just give me a quick second. I'm going to make sure that everybody is on because I see an unfavorable signal showing me that my Wi-Fi signal is low. But I'm hoping that you can hear me nonetheless. Okay. So the journey for most PMs, it starts off in the foundational stage with seeds of project management. When we talk about this aspect of seeds of project management, this is where people generally have the idea of going into the world of project management. It is like their first introduction to that world. Let me bring up a different page so that you can see it as good as possible. Okay, give me a second here. So that first journey for me in the seeds of project management, it actually just started off from my professor saying, Phil, you should probably write a paper, a dissertation in barriers to implementing project management systems. So I took him up on the challenge, wrote the paper, but I realized that the world of academia, writing a paper in project management, does not equate to having the experience necessary in industry. But nonetheless, it was a seed that was sown in my mind. And the moment I got the opportunity to take it up a notch, I did. And that's when I started looking for how to get into the world of the PMP. So let me share this with you. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. All right. So the foundational step is generally a build up from high school, first career decisions, and then for those people who are so exposed to the world of CAPM, they get into the world of CAPM, and then emerging professional, which is entry level work. This is where you get the junior analyst experience, coordinator, team lead. You kind of grow in that ascent. You learn by doing and building confidence. And ultimately, you get to your PMP milestone, which was my turning point right here. This is where I got certified. Certification day is a major milestone. And this is where you're now recognized as a professional project manager. For many of us, this was a pivotal step. But the problem that a lot of people have is they get certified as a PMP And that is it. And what I mean by that is nothing happens. Nothing spectacular happens. They have the paper, but they feel no different. In fact, many feel like frauds. Let me just tell you the reason why many don't feel different. They're not practicing what they've learned, they're not practicing what they're certified in. If you are a PMP and you really want to feel something, then start doing. Start baking in what you learned during your PMP into your project management at work. Don't wait for the organization to say you must use Jira, you must use Confluence, you must use Microsoft Project. Personally, I believe that every PMP should be using one of those tools for at least 3 years after your PMP. Otherwise, how are you really going to say, I understand the world of scheduling or cost or scope or risk? You're not using these things. You're not developing a project charter. You're not developing a project management plan. And you tell me, Phil, they don't use that in my organization. Make it for yourself so that it hits deep. Project management plans, WBSs. Have you worked on a WBS with a team ever? And if the answer is no, I feel sorry that you are a PMP and you've never worked on a WBS, not even a dummy WBS. Then there's a problem. This is why you don't feel like a professional, because all the stuff that is preached in the PMBOK guide and other books that you've read for PMP, you get certified and you disregard them, and then you start drinking the sick Kool-Aid in some of these companies. And just because you're in a company working doesn't mean that company is projecting you, putting you on the right trajectory for success. Some of you are in dead end PM positions. They're dead end. They're not giving you nothing. They're not giving you further education. They're not giving you leeway. They're not giving you leadership expansion. It's a dead end job. It's a paper pushing job. And we need to look how we can get out of those jobs, or how you can lead in those jobs. There's certain organizations in the Valley of the Blind, the one eyed man is king. Maybe you're the one eyed man and you're staying in the corner and not wanting to come out and say, hey, this is how you should do this. This is how this can be done. These tools exist. Oh, this confine, we call these multiple interrelated projects a program. You're not doing any of that. So, of course, it's going to be a dead end job. It's going to be as boring as hell because you made it so. You did nothing different. Take a look at my career. When I joined Honeywell, I was told what to do, but I realized there was a big gap. And the big gap was my colleagues, my peers, subordinates, and even higher than me in the organization. They were trying to take the PMP, and the PMP would swat them down like a fly, and they failed, and they were failing. Lots of failure, lots of failure. 2006, that must have been a bloodbath for PMP because people were failing like flies. When I got into Honeywell, I told my boss, I said, I know a thing or two about this. I might be able to help these folks. And his name is Jim Schaefer, rest his soul. Jim said, let me talk to my boss, Mark, about this. Jim goes off, talks to Mark. Mark says, oh, this is not a bad idea. Why don't we help Phil by bringing in a couple of pizzas? Our people, where there's food, they're definitely going to gather. So we bring in the pizzas. And honestly, on Air Lane, I think it was building, what was it? I can't remember the name, 34, 31, whatever the case. That meeting room that afternoon, the first day I did PMP coaching for my peers, it was full. Because at Honeywell, they had this clause: if you want to go higher in the world of project management in this organization, you got to get your PMP. So, as the story goes, I got over 50 of my colleagues all around the world. I mean, it just started off in Airlane, but people started calling in from outside. Hey, people in Europe, can I join your boot camp? Can I join? By the time I was done, bear in mind, this was not my job. It was not my responsibility. 50 plus people certified. Why? Because one PMP decided he was going to lead. John Maxwell, my mentor, he says, a leader is one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. And I didn't even know this back then, but what I was doing was leadership. I was leading those who were failing to success. So you as a PMP, I'm wondering, do you have a mentee? If you don't have a mentee, you need to get a mentee, because the idea about getting a PMP is the river mindset. I'm writing a book called River Leadership, and it's all about, if you really want to lead, you got to be a river. You can't afford to hold stuff close to the vest, trying to prevent people from moving ahead. That's an insecure leader. So if you are truly a PMP with that spirit of camaraderie and community building, I challenge you. Where are your mentees? Where is one? Show me one mentee. One. Do you have one mentee? If you don't have one mentee, you're doing it wrong. You need to have mentees. You need to have people you're pouring into, because that's how you challenge yourself as a PMP. That's how you're like, oh my goodness, I can't even remember what CPI is. And I have little Bobby down the corridor asking me, what is SPI? I got no clue. I better run to my PMI authorized books, and I better start looking to see what SPI and CPI are. It challenges you. I can't count how many times I've been challenged by my mentees. They ask me a question like, oh my goodness, I should know that. I can't remember. So have mentees. Secondly, if you've been a PMP between 2000 till current, you got certified 2000, or let me say between 2000 and 2010, I expect you to at least have done one PMP pre boot camp. Have you ever done a pre boot camp? Just showing people, this is the PMP. I was a student just like you folks might want to be, and this is what I did. This is how I got certified. This is the value of the PMP to you if you get it. This is the value to me. Now I've got it. Have you ever done one of those? If you didn't do that between the certification years of 2000 to 2010, come on now. 15 years, 25 years, and you've never shown people how you got out of the crab barrel ever. I take offense. It's like it doesn't mean much to you. It don't mean much to you. And this is how you position yourself as a leader. I'm challenging you. Yes, because you've been certified for 25 years, 15 years. Actually, let me go for those who got certified in 2015. No. 2020. Now I'm speaking to my Project Leadership Institute people, because I know they're probably watching me, and I want to challenge you. I know some of you have, but some of you haven't. I'm challenging you. I need you. Put it on your to-do list for 2025. One pre-boot camp. I'm not saying run the whole boot camp. Just in your organization, expose people to PMP. And if you've already done that for PMP, I'm challenging you, do it for any of the other certifications that people have interest in. ACP, CAPM. How about vanilla flavored project management? Have you ever done a boot camp for that? So this is part of it. Let me be honest. My fulfillment as a PMP, it comes from knowing I am showing people the way. I'm helping people. I mean, I haven't been a PMP trainer all my life. I only amped it up when my boss said, Phil, this is your last day. There's your box. Go to your office, pack it all up. It's over, buddy. We ain't got no money. I was in a gaming company building a game for Stargate Worlds, and MGM was backing us up, and they were our cheerleaders, and we had the IP rights to do that. And all of a sudden, the axe fell, and that was Phil's last day. I looked for work for 9 months, couldn't find it. And that's what put me into the world of project management, of training as a career trainer. But before that, I had worked for the likes of Motorola and Honeywell and American and General Dynamics and Citigroup. But when the axe fell during the last recession, I had to reinvent myself. I couldn't find work. So I haven't always been a PMP or PM trainer. I worked as a program and project manager, IT effectiveness at Honeywell, defense and space at Honeywell, IT in Motorola. But as time went on, I realized this whole project management thing is great, but a lot of the people who train it, they're not pragmatic enough. So I was having all these thoughts, and then I started the PMBOK Audio Digest series, which I know a lot of people have used for their PMP. But it didn't start overnight. It started at Honeywell, me seeing my colleagues fail and getting uncomfortable. So, my charge to you, if you've been certified between 2000 to 2020 and you have not done a single pre boot camp, a single expose on project management, a single, hey, this organization is called PMI. They are awesome. If you are in the world of project management, this is what they can do for you. This is, if you haven't done any of that, start doing it today. Okay, I'm off my soapbox because people think I'm just being mean. I'm not being mean. I'm telling you what's going to help you thrive as a PMP. Okay, so when you get to this milestone, it is huge. It's a massive turning point. And I encourage you to really start living the PMP life, which is being proud of what you've accomplished and being a river. Now, after you've gone PMP, you're now going into your career expansion. And you got to make that jump from being a junior to a senior PM, not just in paper, but in mindset. Your reputation has got to grow. You know, my mentor, John Maxwell, talks about 5 levels of leadership. Level 1 is position. And that's all you've got as a PMP. You got the position, you got a job, but how do you take it up a notch? Level 2 is likability, being a personable, likable individual. Step 3 is production, showing what you have done for the firm. When I look at your projects, are they worthy of PMP status or are they just all over the place? Did you effectively manage the triple constraint? Did you show any sense of agility? Was your highest priority to satisfy the customer or did you fight the customer? You see, these are all things you want to make sure you are growing in that trajectory. That's level 3. Level 4 is the people level. This is where you pour into people, which is why I kept saying you got to find a mentee, you got to give back to someone, and then you got to go to the next level and do some pre boot camps, do some exposés on project management. And then level 5 is you've done all the 4 levels over a span of time. Some people might do it for 20 years before they get to the pinnacle, but the pinnacle is where people see you as the epitome of a leader. Whether you're PMP, PGMP, PFMP makes no difference. You're either a leader or you ain't a leader. And to be a leader, you got to show the way. You got to know the way, show the way, and go the way. Some of you know the way. You're not showing the way to nobody. If you really want to expand, you got to do that. All right, phase 2. This is where we get into more leadership specialization. So we have program or portfolio management. A lot of people think it's automatic. It's not automatic. Not everybody is built for program management. Some people are not. Some people shouldn't because it's not in their DNA. You got to be strategic. You got to see the big picture. You got to be a servant leader. You got to be a community builder, insanely build community. And then you also have to be someone who is aware of governance and someone who can sit in a boardroom and speak to executives. Some people will melt if you put them in a boardroom. No, program and portfolio management is not for you. For those who are in this world or looking to go into this world, you're going to be leading large scale programs, many moving parts, so many moving parts. Your head's going to spin if you don't have it squarely on your shoulders as a leader. You got to drive business outcomes. You got to know how to delegate. So some people just stay lifelong program managers, and that's okay. Some evolve. If you are looking to evolve into this world and you are currently a PMP, I want to let you understand that we have a Program Leadership Institute certification coming up in 2026. Just go to Program Leadership Institute, programleadershipinstitute.com, and sign up for the program. If you are not looking to do any growth in that regard, you can still get one-on-one coaching at pmanonymous.com. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is a lot of people fail to realize you could be a PMP, a PGMP, a PFMP, whatever you are, but you also need to develop yourself as a leader. And you also need to give back to yourself. It's not enough to say, well, I guess I'll just do the free PDUs on PMI's website. No, get a one-to-one coach. But look, if you cannot find a coach, if you can't find one outside the firm, maybe inside the firm. And I'm not talking about your immediate boss. Like when I was at Honeywell, there were people who gave attention to me. One of my coaches, his name is Durf, Arlen Durf. He showed me all this stuff and all the systems, and he helped me. And you need to have your own DERF in your organization. Who is coaching you? Who is mentoring you? Who is helping you? And I'm talking about senior executives, people who've been in the organization for a long time, people who know where all the bodies are buried, where everyone is. If you don't have someone like that in your corner, what are you doing? You need to be networking and connecting with those individuals. You see, this is why a lot of PMPs don't grow, because they're in an icebox all alone. You got to grow, you got to develop. For those of you that are on YouTube, I put a link right up there in the chat for you to share any questions. If you have any questions, drop me a comment and say, Phil, I put a question in the chat, and I'm going to check out those questions and answer them for you. Okay. But going back to the discussion about program and portfolio, yeah, you got to get some coaching, training, and mentoring. So if you go on down to programleadershipinstitute.com, you'll be able to get some. Operational leadership is another area some people are into. You could use your PM discipline to run a business unit. You could run a department, a division, and just focus primarily on efficiency, on execution, all the good stuff you learned in quality management, time management, stakeholder engagement, procurement, all that stuff will help you in operational leadership. So what I like about the PMP is it gives you options. You don't have to stay stuck as a project manager. Some of you are like tired of it. I understand. How about evolving? Then we also have the world of product and innovation. And that orbit, you're switching lanes, applying project skills to product ownership, innovation, or tech leadership. Moving on to the world of PMOs, some of you have been fortunate to find yourself in the world of program management offices. And in a PMO or portfolio orbit, you could evolve into governance, reporting, enterprise level alignment, becoming a PMO director, VP of project management or portfolio management. You could get into the hybrid orbit. So while I was at Honeywell, I was in a hybrid orbit between project management, PMO leadership, and program management while I was there. So you could move through all of those orbits. You don't have to stay stuck. Some people get bored very quickly, and I understand, but you got to take the law into your own hands and build your own off ramp. Trust me, the organization is not going to come to you and say, hey, Phil, we got a job for you. No, you got to build your own off ramp. Okay. Finally, we get into the executive ascent, which is leading the entire organization. And there are lots of PMPs like that who have grown, from being a PMP, project manager, portfolio manager, and some have just translated into being a CEO. I actually have one of my students who became a CEO of an electrical company. And it was just a very quick ascent. It was such a gradient, such a steep gradient. And some people just find themselves being called upon to come lead the entire firm. My question to you is, will you be ready? In order to get ready for things like that, you got to take the next step and learn more about leadership, learn more about program leadership, and just get ready, because when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare. Some of you waiting for that job. Oh, I guess when I'll get a job opportunity. No, no, no. Go there now. Do it now. Do it now. So if you go to this site, the Program Leadership Institute site, just go to programleadershipinstitute.com. 2026. That's your year. That's your year. Some of you have been looking gingerly at this book for a while. Some of you have been looking at this book. Let me show you right here. Some of you have been looking at this book for a while, right? And you're wondering what exactly is in it. How can I grow in it? How can I develop? Or maybe the answer is in you taking a step. You need to take a bold step, and you need to come to our Program Leadership Institute training, which will get you in ship shape for your next big thing in your career. Some of you just need to take a step. So go on there and read more about the information. And if that tickles your fancy or you got any questions, do let me know. All right. Moving into the legacy phase, you're eventually going to get to the legacy question. And the legacy phase is mentorship, thought leadership, global leadership. And here, the PMP is no longer just a personal badge. It's part of the person's contribution to the PM community. So my question to you is, Are you thinking about the next step? Some of you have been in it for 25 years. Some of you pushing 70, 75. You're not going to be doing this forever. So you got to ask the question, what's my next big step as a PMP? How am I giving back? Look, it's rather selfish to say, I guess I'll just retire, throw in the towel. Don't do that. Look, one of my students, he was pushing 70. Shout out to Helmut Lorette, pushing 70 when he got certified. He said, Phil, I'm doing this because I want to know what my project managers went through. This guy got certified at the age of 69.9. And he got certified and started an organization in retirement. Retirement. So he's out in Switzerland by the lake, but he didn't just want to chill, he wanted to give back. And that's what legacy is all about. So I'm challenging those of you who are in the throes of the last hurrah. What are you going to do about your legacy phase? All right. Some of you need to go to pmanonymous.com so that we can have a conversation. Okay. So here are some key insights for your next step. Number one, PMP life cycle is not a single ladder. It's a series of interconnected orbits. The PMP, for some of us, it's a passport. It's a launch pad into higher roles. And for others, it's a lifelong badge of excellence. Okay. So, reflecting on the years 2000 to 2025, for those of you who got certified between 2021 to 2025, congrats. Everything I said is still applicable to you. Some of you have had a very rapid ascent. I expect you to be doing exactly what I shared with those from 2000 to 2020. You should be mentoring still, right? You should be coaching. You should be helping. You should be sharing your story of how you got to where you are. And you should also be open to mentoring, training, coaching from someone who's been in the industry for longer than you have. So today's PMP step into a world where the credential is globally recognized, but expectations for agility, digital fluency, and leadership are non-negotiable. They expect you to have these. I also want to give a shout out to all the PMPs, even before the year 2000, who have paved the way. So shout out to my buddy Lee Lambert, the very first of those pioneers, one of the very first of those pioneers who led the way, showed the way, and as a result of all his hard work and what he did for the PMP, we're standing on shoulders of giants right now. So shout out, if you got certified before the year 2000, you are a GOAT. You're an OG and maximum respect. And I'm curious if any of you is listening or watching, why don't you drop a nugget of advice to us young'uns? Give us a nugget of advice. Let us know what your perspective is, how you can live a robust PMP life, as opposed to just running after the bag, running after money every day without really sitting down and say, where am I building my career to? So if you're ready to master your next career phase, my friends, start with a CAPM. Click on that button if that's you. Earn your PMP. You can get coaching if you've already done your PMP and other things. And if you want to advance to program leadership, again, it's programleadershipinstitute.com. Down here at the bottom, I have various books for those looking to start their job on day one, prepare for interviews, how to become the best version of yourself as a PM, Agile in hardware, how to succeed after the PMP, Scrum leadership. I also have the Consultant's Compass. If you are thinking of getting into consulting, but you're scared, that book is for you. Build Your Leadership Brain, another great book that shows you about leadership. And all these books were written by me. And I share a lot of my experience training the likes of the US Air Force, the US Army, my journey in project management as a PM, as a program manager. I share that all throughout. I also have Pragmatic Project Management, which is a rather large book, shows you a lot about the practicalities, and then a book on program management. So, what I'm going to do next, my friends, is share this link with you. If you would like to know more, feel free to send an email to the address at programleadershipinstitute.com. For the past 5 years, we've grown a lot of our leaders in the Project Leadership Institute. And now we're taking it up a notch in 2026. We're going from just looking at the linear dimensions to more 3D. That's how I see it. So whether you are in the world of portfolio, program, EVP, VP, having this knowledge about program management, program leadership is vital. So I'm going to be sharing with my buddy Roy Schilling 2026. We're going to be training you from two perspectives. You've often heard program management, right? In traditional, but a lot of people don't talk about program leadership in agile. So, what we're going to be doing in 2026, we're going to be bringing a hybrid view so that when you are a program leader, you're not thinking too hard. It becomes very evident how your program needs to be structured across all the projects in the program. If you're a portfolio manager, it becomes very evident how your program managers and project managers can help bolster that strategic objective you're trying to achieve. So there's three tracks for this curriculum. The first track is based on the book I wrote called Program Management Secrets. That's the first book that we're going to use. It has a lot of my pragmatic experience being a program manager in the likes of Honeywell and Motorola. The second book, you might have seen this around, is called The Standard for Program Management. This is from the PMI. I am going to deconstruct this book in a way you've never seen before. I'm going to give you a very, very simple mnemonic to run with right now. The mnemonic is simply for program management. You want to be a great program manager, you got to get a big soda pop cola. It's a trick. It's a trick mnemonic. Get a big soda pop cola just means G for governance, A for alignment, B for benefits, S for stakeholder engagement, and then P is for the program lifecycle, and then COLA, C, collaboration. So all throughout Q1, Q2 of 2026, we are covering this curriculum for your program leadership certification. If you want to be part of that, go to programleadershipinstitute.com, or you could go to programmanagementinstitute.com as well. All roads will lead there. But the third curriculum, this really excites me because for the past 14 years, I've been learning this curricula from my mentor, John Maxwell. So we're going to be combining this curricula to give you a very robust idea on how to be a real program leadership success. Part of this curriculum will also be from the 360-degree leader mastermind umbrella. So all of these are books you will be receiving. And at the end of June 2026, those of you who've come on the journey, you will be so glad you did, because it's not just the training and the education. We have a lot of hands-on interaction with like minds. So if you feel that you've been stuck in a vacuum, you've been in a silo, and there's really been no interaction with other PMPs or PGMPs, well, this will be a great opportunity for you. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to take any questions that there are. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Because I do not see any in the chat. Let me do a very quick check on Instagram. And let me try to check all the others, because they should have come through if there were any questions. Let's see. Just doing a quick check. Okay. So I do not see any questions. I want to say thank you all very much for those of you who came through. Again, PMPs, whether you got certified in the 90s, 80s, or very recently, it's all one family, right? I also want to alert you to a few things. First of all, let me share this link one more time with you. So this is a link to the information I shared. And let me also send a link to the program leadership site. Okay. So here's a link to Program Leadership Institute. And again, if you have any questions, let me know and I'll be very happy to respond. Oh, my friends on LinkedIn. Let me also send that to you. Okay. Send that to you. All right. All right. There we go. Okay. I think that's all the information for now, my friends. Any questions, comments, or concerns before I jump off the call? Okay. I'm going to assume there are none. Let's put these links on the screen so you can see them. So that's the first one for the Program Leadership Institute. And the second one for this presentation is this. That's the second one. Lots of text and numbers, but you can always freeze it and you can copy it from there. Okay. All right, my friends. Well, I appreciate you. I wish you all the very best. Make sure you're living your best version of yourself as a PMP. Take it up to the next level. Thank you very much. You take care, and I wish you all the best. Bye for now.